Brilliant, thank you. Can everyone hear me okay as well? Great, so thank you for joining us to talk about some of the key benefits of a best-of-breed finance software solution. We're going to talk about from integrations to reporting. So my name is Emily Joyce. I'm one of the business development managers at Xledger, and I specialise in working with the housing sector as well as other not-for-profit organisations. For those of you who don't know who Xledger are a cloud-based finance software solution provider for ambitious organisations. I'm also joined by Laura Jolly, who's one of our senior solution consultants. Laura, do you want to give a quick intro and some insight into your experience in the sector?
Yeah, thank you, Emily. My name's Laura Jolly, Senior Solutions Consultant here at Xledger. I've been with Xledger just over 2.5 years. Prior to this, I worked in a housing association, so I've been in your seat as well. I'm as well a qualified accountant as my background, so I know the technical side, but I also know the accounting technicalities as well. Got experience on both sides of implementation, so I've got various implementations on the client side, and then obviously moving to Xledger on the software side. So I've seen both sides of that fence and kind of help not-for-profits, housing associations, commercial businesses implement Xledger, find the right solution and add those automation efficiencies where possible.
Thank you, Laura. And I guess with your heaps of experience in this sector, you're very much aware of all of the challenges that housing associations face at the moment and how they're trying to overcome them. Do you want to just talk about that as well?
Yeah, in today's economy, there are a lot of challenges that everyone is facing, not just housing associations, from the cost of living crisis that we are currently kind of in the early stages of, the costs of energy, the cost of food, everything is going up. So everything is being scrutinised more and more, looking at how much things cost, is it efficient, is it effective for the organisation. Obviously interest rates as well, cost of debt coming higher. Obviously with the recent kind of news of some US banks collapsing and some kind of European banks as well being, on rocky ground, there is some concern there as well. Obviously there's still as well scrutiny on health and safety and compliance. We know it's a key thing for housing associations still to be focusing on. So there is still a lot of things going on, and obviously looking to the future as well with the developments that are going on and with the requirements for ESG coming about. That's still, there's a lot going on for housing associations and in today's world.
So before we start talking about a best-of-breed finance system and the key benefits of that, one thing that we recognise typically with housing associations, they have previously been using an all-in-one system where you're settling for everything in one package, whereas today we're recognising that a lot of housing associations are moving away from this and they're looking at, I need a best-of-breed finance management system and a best-of-breed housing management system that can then talk to each other. Laura, can you talk a bit more about why you think housing associations have typically gone for that all-in-one system?
Yeah, exactly. Typically, you've seen a lot of housing associations with an all-in-one system. It's a finance system that's a bolt-on to the housing management system. It's that all-in-one, out-of-the-box package. A lot of the time, that is kind of driven by the housing management system. That was the only option. And as well, like 10, 15 years ago, there was kind of a very limited choice on the options available on the market. It may be driven by the other departments in the organisation rather than a finance choice. As well, it was perceived that it may have been difficult to integrate with other systems. The technology wasn't there 10, 15 years ago, so it was perceived as a very big barrier to that, best of breed finance system, and it is, one that kind of made those choices for them.
And we're going to talk a lot about best of breed and what those benefits are, but it's probably good to start off by explaining what a best of breed system is and why we think housing associations are focusing on having a best of breed solution now.
Yeah, exactly. So just to clarify, when we're talking about best of breed, we're talking about having the best finance system for the finance team, having the best housing management system for the housing association, rather than that all-in-one package. So with the cloud advancements over the last couple of years, it's really reducing that reliance on servers, especially when they are true cloud. It takes that onus off of the housing association or any organisation and moves it onto the supplier. So it means you don't need to have all that hardware in place. That is moved, responsibility to the software provider. That true cloud solution as well reduces the reliance on IT. because it more tends to be supported by the supplier and can really empower finance to make those decisions rather than having to go to an IT team to make changes. It can be done by finance. That allows IT support more front end, that integrations piece, rather than having to kind of deal with the finance system and the upkeep of the finance system. As well, obviously mentioned with an all-in-one, saying integrations were a barrier. That barrier has pretty much been removed, meaning that the choice there is greatly expanded. These best-of-breed systems as well are highly configurable, so they can meet the finance needs, meaning that they're not just meeting the housing team's needs. Finance can get all of the data they need to the granularity they need. It allows finance teams not to settle for less. They can settle for, not settle, they can get a system that actually works for them, helps them be the most efficient finance team they can be. With process automation as well, in these best-of-breed systems, that really helps those finance teams become really efficient and effective for the organisation. As well, cloud systems, unlike traditional systems where, if there was a legislative change, you'd have to upgrade the system or get a bolt-on system. With these cloud systems, they tend to upgrade as you go. A lot of these do, 1 or 2 major product releases a year, meaning that, the system keeps up with these changes.
Thank you, Laura. And we know that one of the key benefits of a best-of-breed finance software solution is the automation, which ultimately allows housing associations to streamline their processes to make them more efficient, which should hopefully save the time and money in return to really empower the finance team. Can you talk a bit more about how it can empower the finance team and why this is so important to housing associations?
Yeah, exactly. So housing associations we have spoken to, getting that automation piece is really key. It's let's not waste time on time-consuming data entry, repetitive work that doesn't necessarily need to be done. Having a system, that does this automation, so with that reducing error piece, so technology such as optical character recognition or OCR, reduces that human error. We all make mistakes. This OCR piece, as an example, really reduces that and makes sure that that data is entered correctly first time, speeding up the whole finance process. This automation piece as well also allows organisations to be ready for strategic change. If the board make a decision that we need to restructure our cost centres or our schemes, we can do that easily in-house without having to go through a complete new implementation. This automation as well really empowers finance teams to make their own changes and manage that without IT, without the suppliers, meaning that those changes can be made quickly and efficiently and in the way that you actually need it to be made.
And then moving on to reporting. So the report side of a best-of-breed system can be very powerful and flexible, allowing you to slice and dice that data in real time, which isn't just beneficial for the finance team, but allows budget holders to self-serve, have access to their own cost centres and multiple dashboards. Laura, can you explain a bit more about why having this accurate reporting is so key to organisations today?
Yeah, so real-time and accurate reporting is one of those top kind of options that we see. It's a key component for when we're talking to housing associations about a new finance system. This accurate reporting is really key because it means it can empower your stakeholders and to be able to make them to be able to self-serve and giving them that visibility and accountability for their own numbers. Okay, so rather than having to query finance, what's this number made up of, it means they can self-serve that and get that information at a touch of a button. Also, traditionally, management accounts tend to be produced, 3 or 4 weeks into the month. That means the data they get on their desk is 3 or 4 weeks out of date. With the real-time reporting system, it means they can see those numbers today. They can't be using the excuse, oh, I thought I was in budget. They can see today's figure and have that accountability for those numbers. These cloud-based finance systems as well have the ability to drill down and see things like the invoice images from the system. Again, they don't need to be requesting copies of invoices. They can self-serve all of that data. With accurate reporting and real-time, also is really key is that easy report creation. Be able to slice and dice your information very quickly, not have a really time-consuming report writing process, can really, benefit an organisation. And if it is right, and if the budget holders and stakeholders are trained correctly, it means that finance can focus on things that matter rather than those duplicated tasks that they do over and over again. And then they can start really adding value to the organisation and doing that business partnering piece.
So at the beginning, we spoke a lot about how housing associations are moving away from having that all-in-one system and are focusing on integrating the best-of-breed housing management system with a best-of-breed finance management system. And ultimately, it's down to how seamless these integrations are today. Can you talk about why, I guess, these integrations have become more seamless and why it is so important to have these in place?
Yeah, exactly. So we all know in a housing association, the housing management system is key. Having that integrated into your finance system, is a vital part. When we're talking to housing associations about implementing new software, tends to be top of the agenda. Everyone I've spoken to, that is number one. That's kind of number one question, number one thing that needs to be addressed. Over the last couple of years, with the tech advancements, all of these cloud-based finance softwares, they tend to have the requirements that they can integrate, either by SOAP or an open API with the developments through GraphQL. It's made that integration piece a lot easier. It's removed those barriers, meaning that as we were mentioning earlier, you don't have to settle for what comes out of the box. You can choose the finance system that works for your organisation. Okay? It means as well that you don't have to, as I said, settle for less. You can get that best system. Also, there are a lot more tools available on the market, so such as tools like Zapier make these integrations a lot easier, meaning that those integrations between those systems can be a lot quicker and easier without having to do hours and days of development. That barrier is really, really removed.
Perfect. So just to summarise really on the 5 key benefits of a best-of-breed system, firstly, as Laura just mentioned, it's those seamless integrations. So we can now focus on making sure that with the push and pull approach, your finance management system really talks to your housing management system and you get the information transferred that you require. Also the accessibility via the cloud. So all you really need to have access to a best-of-breed solution is an internet connection and a web browser. We also have the automation, which will streamline your processes to help you to become more efficient and hopefully save you that time and money in return. The systems are also highly configurable, so be configured to help you and your organisation's needs, and then it will provide you with that real-time insight and accurate reporting. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us to kind of talk about the 5 key benefits of a finance system. If you'd like to learn a little bit more, then please come and see us at stand 620, and we'll be happy to answer any questions and also talk a bit more about Xledger, which is also a best-of-breed finance software solution. I think now it's gone 4 o'clock, we also have some beers and bubbles as well, so you're more than welcome to help yourselves.